Broads Media.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Broads. We have a ton to get to today in regards to our football team. I asked you to send in some questions, so we're going to react to some of those. And then, of course, the major stories, whether it's Miles Sanders, Jalen Reagor, Andre Dillard. Unfortunately, some negative things to talk about when it comes to them. But, overall, the beef of it is we're pumped up thinking about a football team that's going to win a ton of games. So, a lot of conflicting emotions at this point in time. Doesn't help that I'm just chugging here a pumpkin cream cold brew, and I can feel it. All right, let me tell you for free, I feel some tingling sensations that's happening inside. So it might reflect a little bit of how we approach today and how this show's going to go. Where do we begin? I don't even know. Do we set the mood with a question or two to get us in the flow? Do I start with the hard-hitting, disgusting things that I'm thinking about with this football team? Let's go loose. Let's do something different. Let's start a little bit bizarre. Normally we do the anytime hotline text messages late in the show after I get off of my thoughts. But let's flip it off a little bit. Flip it off. No, not flip it off. Let's switch things up. All right, both of these individuals, unfortunately, did not leave their names, the ones that I grabbed, but out of the new teammates, who excites you the most? Who excites me the most when thinking about this squad? You know what? It's got to be Jordan Davis. This dude, now look, it might not reflect statistics on paper, but everybody else's numbers are going to shoot up because of what this man is going to do in the middle. He's going to swallow up these linemen, these offensive linemen who, by the way, when you look around the league at offensive line play, they don't have the luxury of having Jeff Stoutland and all these dudes. Realistically, and I know Andre Dillard got hurt, and we'll touch more on him as we continue, but if you think about Andre Dillard and Cam Jurgens and Jack Driscoll, guys who are your backups, they start majority of the NFL team. On majority of these teams, they're going as the number one. So I'm putting that in perspective of what Jordan Davis is going to be going up against. Now, there's some lethal talent, all right? It's not as if everybody's a bum, but look at this, all right? What's Dallas doing? Dallas is calling up Jason Peters. Yo, Jason, do you want to help us out? Jason Peters sucked 3 years ago. He sucked last year. He sucked the year before. This man sucks. He sucks. And Dallas is going, I'm so desperate. Let's bring him in. Let's have some talks. This is the level that teams go to when they don't have many options because around the league, it's such a premium. And it's a high looked-at position, and it's just not out there. Except here in Philadelphia, you get a little magic done, and you feel like you can plug and play because they're masters when it comes to that position. Jordan Davis is going to be a damn beast. And I remember even when looking at Nakobe Dean tape during the time of him getting selected, and everyone was wondering why he went lower and what took so long for a team to take him. When they were going through the film, basically every time he shined, and this is no knock on Nakobe Dean, it's more just praising the big fella up front. Watch Jordan Davis. Watch what he does. Now Nakobe Dean reacts smoothly and gets to where he needs to be and makes the play that he's supposed to make. And he's electric in his own right. But it all starts up front. So think about what Josh Sweat could do. Think about what anyone else can do on this line. I gotta go with the big fella, man. This dude, I'm telling you, we're going to be in awe. Sometimes when you see Jason Kelce, and you go, come on, man, what is this guy doing? There's no way he's getting to the second level like that. There's no way at this age he's destroying opponents that way, but he is. Shoving guys to the ground, kicking them in the dirt. And then here's a back getting an extra 10 yards up the left sideline because Kelce is doing things that we can't even comprehend. I guarantee you, Jordan Davis is going to be doing the same thing. So I think my answer has got to be him. And then what are you hearing, bro? It's about BG's camp. I've asked a few guys, and we've kind of had some guests on throughout the last few weeks on the Fanatic, and they say he looks good. I mean, he's older. He's coming back from a big injury, but, he seemed to be high spirit, high energy guy. We know what Brandon Graham's personality is all about, and that's a key component to this locker room and to, what he brings to the table, not just from an on-the-field standpoint, but from the morale, from just the energy surrounding the team. So he's still providing that, and that sort of reflects how he feels and how spry he looks. And, everything that I'm hearing is he looks good. He looks like Brandon Graham, and from that aspect, you could also tie this together with Jordan Davis. Think about how much that helps someone like BG too. Doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. Brandon Graham's great. Brandon Graham's going to do Brandon Graham things no matter what. But as a unit, man, that front is going to demolish opponents. And by the way, when your secondary is Darius Slay and James Bradbury and Avonte Maddox, who seems to be slipping through the radar a little bit, no? We just plug him in as, Avonte Maddox. Like, I think he deserves a little bit more hype and a little bit more praise. Like, we got a nice slot corner in there to help out and do a damn good job. He gets lost in the sauce. But you throw in, Epps, we don't know. They're hyping him up. They're pumping him up. They're pumping his tires. You find yourself making the trade with the Saints. It makes it that much harder. Because I think last year with Jonathan Gannon, you got these quarterbacks walking up to the line of scrimmage knowing exactly where they're going to go. Because you have all your secondary players back and you're playing that soft coverage. Well, if your front can get home and you have these I want Darius Slay in the face of these receivers nonstop. Press coverage. Where are you going to go? You don't have that much time. And if you don't play off these receivers, you don't have the opportunity and the timing to just throw something super quick because these guys are in the face of your offensive weapons. I didn't even touch on linebackers yet. Playmaking linebackers. I didn't even touch on Hassan Reddick yet. So to answer the question with BG, I'm hearing all good things. All good things. Seems to be motivated. See, there's certain players, when they get hurt, there's really no question on their return to a degree. His age is always going to be a thought. But if Lane Johnson goes down, what do you expect when he returns? He'll be all right? If Jason Kelsey misses a little bit of time, now he seems to start every single damn game, and we know that. But I'm just saying, hypothetically, if he was to miss 5 weeks, what do you think we're getting back week 6? A damn good Jason Kelsey. I think with Brandon Graham, it's almost the same thing. It's like, he's one of those guys. Miles Sanders, no. No. I have a fear. Why did they put someone on the practice squad at the running back position? Why did they acquire a Trey Sermon off waivers who's now on your active roster? Now, I texted a few people who are around the team to get their thoughts. Is this Miles Sanders related? Is this more of just a bigger back? And I got mixed answers. Some said, watch Miles Sanders, watch what they do with him. Be aware. And then another said, well, I think it's more of just a different style of back. Here's what I don't like hearing from Nick Sirianni, though. He's getting better every day. We're hopeful, and we'll see what happens. Does that sound like a head coach who feels strongly about a player returning? I don't hate Miles Sanders. I don't love him to death as much as the big Miles Sanders supporters do. I can't write him into a great year, though. For the hype beasts out there loving this team, and we all love this team. You should love this team. Look at how Howie Roseman changed this roster. A.J. Brown. Shame on me. Should A.J. Brown, shouldn't that have been maybe my answer to who I'm most excited for with this team? Maybe, right? A new team. A.J. Brown to this offense. Yeah, you know what, bros? That's a pretty damn big one. That's a pretty damn big one. Devontae Smith used to go up against the other team's number one when you had some bums at the receiver position on your team. Now, you have to put your focus on AJ. What's that mean for Devontae? And I'm getting pissed off because this damn headset is giving me problems every day now. Work with me here. I don't know what's going on. Jeez. Can't get anything right. A.J. Brown, though, is going to get all the focus. So Devontae, and he was even making things happen last year. Now it gets that much easier for him. Or you want to focus on Devontae? So, getting back on track a little bit, which I'm trying to do. Miles Sanders, yes. Oh, man. I'm not going to be fooled. This dude barely practiced, and he finally got out there. Ran a straight line. I think they're giving you lip service. That's what I think, in visual form. You got some of the guys on the sidelines there watching practice. Oh, look, Miles Sanders ran. This organization is all about keeping everything within. They're scared. They're scared of what the public sees. They're scared about the Lions knowing something. I'm sorry, but if you're nervous about the Lions, and this is where, look, I give Howie Roseman a lot of credit, and I fall on the supporter side, because if you look around the league, what Howie Roseman doesn't get the credit he deserves, especially in this city. Nationally, he's starting to get a ton of buzz because, honestly, you look at this roster. Look at this roster and think about where we were last year defensively and where we are right now. The lack of, not awareness, but the fear of the tiny details leaking and this and that. That's what's like, yo, dude, like, relax, chill out. Now, at the end of the day, all I care about is winning football games. But the lack of communication, not just with the fan base. I just don't think he's a good people person. And I don't think he's good with communicating to people. The way he views it is a bit different. But he puts a good roster together. I'm just saying, I think that's an area, and that's sort of where it begins. And then it kind of has a domino effect to where it is in relationship with the media and the fans too. So it starts with just the people person side of them, and then when it comes down to, and maybe the Chip Kelly era had something to do with messing their psyche up, so now they just feel a certain type of way and they can't get themselves out of the mud. I don't know. They try and play this game. We're not dumb. We see right through. It's been 2+ weeks of the guy doing nothing. You're picking up all these running backs. And I don't want to hear that's because you don't want the Lions. I promise you, the Lions have seen Kenneth Gainwell. They've seen Boston Scott. They've seen Miles Sanders. They've seen Sherman. Like, they've seen tape on these dudes. The current status and where he's at and you manipulating everything ain't going to be the difference in the outcome of what happens Sunday against the damn Lions. Week 1 of the NFL season. These game plans are already set, what the Lions are thinking of doing. But I digress. I just don't feel good. I'm sorry. I just don't feel good about Sanders. Someone threw at me on Twitter the other day, over under 11.5 games, and I took the under. It's already beginning. All right, so what else happened? Jalen Reagor? Yeah, the Jalen Reagor trade occurred. Here's what I'm noticing. Now, they did pick back up Davion Taylor for the practice squad, and it sounded like they kind of knew that they would have a chance to. That's why you heard Nick Sirianni, hopefully we get a chance to have him back. We would love to continue to coach him. It seemed like it was inevitable that would be a selection down the road, right? But you now saw them move on from JJ Arcega-Whiteside. You watch them trade Jalen Reagor to the Minnesota Vikings, who now has to be with Justin Jefferson every single day. And then they cut a Davion Taylor. Now, like I said, they brought him back. My point is, though, it seems like they don't care anymore about, well, this was a 2nd-round pick. This was a 1st-round pick. This was a 3rd-round pick. If you suck, you suck. If you're not cutting it, you're gone. And that wasn't the case in years past. So I say in sports all the time, not football, any sport ever, we don't care if you fail, because failing is a part of life. What do you do once you fail? How do you now take a step in the right direction when you fall back a bit? Howie took a step back. There's no denying it. But it does seem like they are at least now noticing what can't happen when mistakes occur. You can't just hold on to these cats and put them in the lineup and beg for them to be something that they're not. You have to put this team in a position to succeed. If that means owning up to your mistakes, just own up to it. Mistakes happen. You make bad selections. There's awful draft picks year in and year out. But don't force a dude to be glued at a wide receiver spot just because you're trying to make it work. It won't work. That's a great step. The next step is don't pick the bad players, right? No, you don't bat 1,000. I'm just saying, I'm starting to see more Georgia draft picks. I'm starting to see more Alabama draft picks. Is it possible that you took what failed, you recognize it, and then you go, all right, let's change that. No more TCU. And look, we're talking Landon Dickerson. We're talking Cam Jurgens. We're talking Devontae Smith. Now, me and Tyrone go back and forth all the time on the best show ever about Howie. And we talk about the things that suck, the things that are good. And one thing that Tyrone brings up is, when's the last drafted star? The last drafted star. You're going back to Fletcher Cox and Lane Johnson and Zach Ertz. And it's been a while. That's why you talk about these garbage drafts, which we've all dissected for so long now. And yeah, I mean, there is reality to not having that stud in the draft. What Howie does, though, is, even though that's his lowest thing, right? That's when you look at the order of what he does well. Drafting is at the bottom. He finds sexy trades. A.J. Brown. Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith. Darius Slay. And the reason my brain was thinking Devontae Smith is, I feel that this new core of recent draft picks have the chance to have that star drafted, which matters compensation-wise, which matters cost control-wise. So there is value in not only just trading for them, but that's why it means so much more when you draft them. A.J. Brown gets a big contract. Darius Slay, there's money involved. And it doesn't mean there's only one way to build. The Los Angeles Rams are trading all their first-round draft picks. So that's the way they do it. There's not one way and one way only. So if this is how it works for Howie Roseman, you trade for all these studs, and then you draft guys that are good, but maybe not takeover effect, but they're still highly talented. Is there something to that? Hypothetically, I think maybe. But whether it's Cam Jurgens, whether it's Devontae Smith, whether it's Dallas Goedert. I don't know yet on Goddard. I think he has the potential. But maybe that star that we're looking for is in this new batch. And if I was a betting man, I think I'd say that there's a high probability of that being the case. Whose fault is it, though, that Jalen Reagor failed? This was an interesting debate that we had. Is it more on Howie Roseman or is it more on Jalen Reagor? Now, you got to remember, heading into the draft, Reagor was in that second-round range. He's giving you unplayable, right? So he's not even living up to the expectations that were put on him, I think, fairly coming out of TCU on what he can be. Howie gets blame for having the number one round pick expectations on him because he's not a number one round pick style player. But I also have to say, yo, dude, I mean, there were still opportunities for you to do better than what you gave us. Deep down, I think Reagor has more in him than what he showed here. I think he got into his own head. He knew the fan base didn't like him. He started going back and forth with people on Twitter, and he was told nonstop by people within the organization, stop tweeting, stop tweeting, stop tweeting. He tweeted and he tweeted and he tweeted and he tweeted. So at some point, I got to look at you and go, yo, dude, come on. Like, balls are hitting you right in the face. The ball is hitting you right in the hands. Oh, you should probably watch what I say there. You know, the ball is hitting you right in the hands. You got to make the play. These plays are there for you to make. And I think he can make those plays. It's not ridiculous. I'm not saying he's Randy Moss. I'm not saying that he's Justin Jefferson. But I think there's more in his body than what he gave us. And now in Minnesota, we have Thielen, where you have Jefferson as a fourth receiver. Maybe he does a little something as a fourth receiver. But I don't give a damn about that. If there's anyone out there actually irritated with the fact that Howie Roseman let him go, it's like, oh, you shouldn't have done that. We actually got a few calls saying, like, why? Why? Well, what if he does something in Minnesota? It's irrelevant because he wasn't going to do it here. And you have four receivers that I love more. AJ, Devontae, Quez, and Pascal. Who cares? Cut the losses. And how about the side of this with the locker room? Sometimes there's something to be said about losing players. Like, the guy just oozed bad juju. The guy just oozed a pain in the ass to deal with. You got to monitor him. You got to coddle him. You got to baby him. Just get out of here, man. Just get out of here. I'm sure the teammates had a different perspective on him than we did. I don't think a lot of I don't think guys hated him, right? They're probably like, yo, like helping him through it, working through it. I'm sure they felt for him a little bit. Young kid, social media, ripping him apart. They probably could tell that he was in his feels a little bit. So I'm sure they really did care about the guy and wanted to make sure he was in a good mental space, because I know if I was in the room, I'd probably feel the same way. If I had a teammate you could tell was always down in the dumps and always had to, I would love for the kid to just be like, screw you all, I'll show you how good I am. I mean, I want that to be the reaction, but sometimes you get beaten down by it. You don't think people say I'm an idiot and a moron and I should shut up every single day? I hear it every single day. I just block it out. I'm not in the NFL, but still, I mean, I see it, I hear it, I got you. I just don't worry about it. If someone did get affected heavily by, I'm sure they care and all, and, you know, they want to make sure he's good. But there is an element, too, that's like, let's cut it loose, and let's move forward. Who gets more blame, the player or the GM? It's almost like there's different phases to this. In the draft side of things, I mean, he was told Justin Jefferson. He was like, no, I'm going with Reagor, and Reagor had a second-round pick kind of view to him. But still, I mean, dude, you got to go out there and make some of the plays, and you were projected to be second round. Now, what if this is the argument? If all those people who scouted thought second round, and they were wrong, isn't it on everyone in the football world saying he's a second-round pick talent when he's really a fifth? Let's use Marcus Smith as the example. Marcus Smith was never good enough, and we can't blame him for being poor. That's just who he was. You could blame the Eagles for selecting him that high. Chip Kelly wanting Marcus, all that stuff. Yeah, but even now, I still say I think there's something in Reagor more than what he gave you. I think he's so lost and beaten down mentally that he's struggling to get it out of his game. And maybe a new change of scenery is that for him. Maybe the ceiling in him is a third wide receiver type of dude. Having guys like Thielen and Jefferson stretch the field, and then he's kind of underneath and then getting the ball in his hands and going from there. I don't know. You know, we'll see. We'll see if he ends up getting a nod here in week 2 against the Birds, which would be an interesting sight. What else? The Dillard injury. Yeah, the Dillard injury, that was bizarre. You know, just kind of came out of nowhere on us. And, you know, I don't want to be cocky. I don't want to be too confident in the offensive line play, but I am. It sucks, right? It's not good. And I'm just looking over here on Twitter to see if anything happened over the last 20 minutes, because you just never know. Things pop up out of nowhere in the Eagles world on us. I prefer him being the backup left tackle with all your other options. I want that to be the case. This happens, I expect them to figure it out, because they always do. They have showed me for my entire lifetime that if something bad happens there, other than the 1 year with Carson Wentz, where they Jason Peters and Brown, oh man, that was 75 injuries on the offensive line all at once. Like, plugging one guy in is a lot different than redoing the entire line with 5 dudes, and then plus your backups are even the 7th stringers. Like, it's an issue when it's all collectively happening. They always figure this puppy out. So if we're ever in that predicament, I'll assess it more then. The timetable's unknown. There seems to be more fight in the kid than in years past. Seems to be hungrier than in years past. I guess he's not on the field, though. We'll never get a chance to see it. And we'll never get a chance to see it as long as Mailata stays healthy, which is what we need to see. But put it on the notes. Put it on the list of things to keep your eyes on as we get going for the first game here. And last on my list a little bit as we kind of just spitball through notes is the emotion that Slay had when he was named captain of the team. And this was the quote: "To be named captain is a true blessing for me. Never been a vocal or motivational guy. I always thought I always taught to lead by example. And if you know me, I'm a guy that plays and jokes around a lot. And for guys to see past all that, I thank you, and I will wear that C on my chest with an honor. Seems kind of motivated by it. And it's weird to think he never even had a C on his chest when in Detroit. He's a funny dude, man, though. He really is. He talks about keeping it light and on. I like that. That was me when I was in the locker room. I always was the goofball, the funny guy, the locker room guy. But when it was time to go on the ice, it was all business. You can find that fine line of keeping it loose, playing your role, having a swagger about you, but also know that, hold on, that flip has switched. It seems like Slay is kind of that guy. They all just, together right now, are playing a good role of, first off, loving the crew, loving everyone in that room. The vibe's there, and credit to Nick Sirianni for doing that. He sets that tone. That's all there. They're not too extreme, feeling good about themselves. It's the perfect level. You got to put it all together, though. And sometimes when you get all that hype, because they're getting hyped nationally. They're getting hyped to finish with the best record and this and that. And Sportsbook has seen a ton of money fly in on the birds. And sometimes, we've seen it after the Super Bowl. This roster's way better than the one we won the Super Bowl with. Well, sometimes that's not how it works. But I think right now they're playing a good card. I want you to smell yourself a little bit. Because that's where swag comes in. It all comes down to the quarterback, too, though. Who is he? Who's Jalen Hurts? This offense is going to pass the ball. That's why they brought in who they brought in. Pass to take the lead, run to burn down the clock. So by the end of it, you go, oh, look, they were 50-50. They were 60-40. Look how split they were. Yeah, it's because they threw the ball to burn the clock. I want them to maximize the run game. I want them to maximize Hurts. Sink or swim, though. We need to know. Because winning regular season games is cute with the run game and all. But that's not how you get to where we want to be. And we saw that by watching these quarterbacks play last year in the postseason. So don't throw it out, or they're not going to throw it out. Right? You want to maximize everybody's skill set and put them in a position to succeed. We have to raise the bar, though, on the throwing game expectations. And it seems a lot of the reporters have seen the step in Jalen Hurts' game. A step. Not the full step or the multiple steps, but a step. Is it a big enough leap to satisfy us? It's a big-time question when you think about where this team is. All right, everyone, thank you all so much for hanging out with me. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. Thank you all so much, and I will see you next time.